Welcome to this episode of Ask the Guitar Coach, the only podcast where you get answers to all your guitar-related questions. If you're interested in developing your guitar skills and reaching your music goals, please send me an email at the email address ioannis@ioannis.org. That is ioannis@ioannis.org, so that I can let you know about all the different packages of elite guitar coaching and how you can get private coaching by me. Without further ado, let's go to our question for the day. How to optimize the quality of your practice time. So, when you're starting your daily practice session, you want this time to be invested in your development. You don't want it to be wasted. Today we're going to talk about a series of things that you need to do to maximize the possibility of your practice session becoming something that's going to help you get better and not just time spent noodling on the guitar and other things that we're going to talk about. So, when you start your practice session, you need to have a little checklist that you're going to follow in order to make sure that this practice session is actually a practice session and not something else. In order for a practice session to be an investment in your development, you need to have some prerequisites. Now, what is this checklist we're going to talk about? Well, this is the checklist that's going to make sure one of your biggest prerequisites is there, and this is focus. Focus is the most important thing you can have in your practice, and this is something that is becoming much more difficult every year that passes by. So let's start with our checklist, and here is item number 1. First of all, you need to turn off your phone. Turn off your phone and put it on airplane mode. Airplane mode is a huge cheat in everyday life because it's a way that you can stop people from interrupting you from something that you want to do. Basically, when you have your phone on and anyone can interrupt you and at any moment for any reason, that means that you're giving them immediately priority over whatever you might be prioritizing at the time. So the first item on your checklist should be put your phone in airplane mode. Item number 2, turn off all notifications from your cell phone, from your PC, from your tablet, from your iPad, anything. No notifications allowed. Now, if you use airplane on your cell phone, it will take care of the notifications for the duration of the airplane mode. However, your PC, laptop, and everything else is still going to be pinging all the time with notifications. You have to be able to turn this off. Once again, this is going to be a little checklist, a little routine that you're going to go through right before you start practicing. It's only going to take like no more than 2 minutes, but it's going to make all the difference in the world. So, no notifications. Turn them off. Number 3, you will decide on your practice time allocation. That means, let's say you want to practice for 45 minutes. For these 45 minutes, you need to make a commitment that you're not going to check your messages, your emails, your SMS, your DMs on Instagram, your Facebook messages, or anything like that. You're going to be off the grid for these 45 minutes. This is the only way to become focused and to eventually be able to do deliberate practice. Not even at the beginning, but eventually. There is no other way. Not even if you are disturbed or interrupted, even if there is the possibility of being interrupted, this will stop you from being able to be involved in this activity. So, no checking any emails, no checking Facebook, no checking your DMs in any kind of platform. I don't need to spell them out one at a time. Next one, and this is going to be kind of more difficult. Depending on your age, you need to go and notify your parents, your friends, or your significant other, whoever is living with you, that you are now in sacred practice mode and you're not to be disturbed for anything unless it is extreme emergency, like the apartment burning down or something like that. You're not to be asked any questions about what would you like to have for dinner. You're not going to be asked questions about what do you want to watch later on Netflix or anything like that. The door stays closed. I always kept it locked during the time I was practicing because it's important to communicate this thing to the people that live with you. So you need to make them understand that you're entering your practice time at that specific day. And this is the next step. And we have one more that is even the next step of this one. Let's check it out. The previous step was to tell your parents or tell your friends or whoever, your roommate, or tell your girlfriend that you're going to be practicing. This step is about actually teaching them that you are not to be disturbed. This is a different thing. The previous one has to do with you doing something, like just saying, okay, I don't want to be bothered for this hour. This step has to basically train them that this is your time, this is a time where you have priority. And this is difficult for many people. Both the guitar player who wants to communicate that and the people who have to accept what he is doing, because now what you're basically saying, you're saying, okay, I come first. This hour is mine. And several times, people that are going to be living with you are not going to easily accept that unless you really fight for it. Because they will be like, well, what do you mean this is your time? We live together. You're supposed to be available at all times. And they will actually, on purpose, even subconsciously, try to test you if you're serious about it. And then every time they try to bother you, they try to interrupt you, you need to just tell them, I will talk about after I'm done. And then you have to keep this consistent for several, sometimes like really many, over 10 or 20 practice sessions before they are trained. Honestly, it's just like training a puppy. They're trained not to bother you at that time because they're not going to get what they want. Which means if somebody asks you a question at the time and you answer the question, you're training them now to interrupt you the next time. And what you should be helping them understand is that you are not to be interrupted at that time. Okay? So I understand it's difficult, especially if you are kind of a people pleaser and you don't want to say no to people. I personally am not in that category, but I have several students who are, and they really had to go through a very difficult time trying to communicate this to people, that they're not neglecting them, but they just need some time to further their own knowledge and their own understanding of their priority, which is the guitar. If you do all these things, you will have no interruptions in your practice, which is going to make a huge difference in the end result. Several times I get questions about people who want to practice guitar while they're watching Netflix or anything like that. And I tell them, no, it doesn't work like that at all. And I see people getting upset, but in reality, you need to be way, way, way more focused than just not watching Netflix at the same time. And the best way to create an environment where you can hope to be focused, because this is not easy for anyone, is by minimizing and then afterwards having no interruptions. And the checklist we just talked about is going to help you very much into creating this kind of environment for your practice time. So that's exactly what I had to say for today. That's all. Just now go and practice. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Make sure you keep sending your questions, and I will make sure I will answer them in one of the upcoming videos. Bye-bye.